It is morning. I'm the pagan librarian. This is my apothecary. That's the way we started off. I've been talking a lot about lore and how it generally applies to a tradition that kind of follows stories of eldritch beings. The outsiders, the uncanny valley, fear of the dark, that sort of thing. But today, I want to talk about a thing that breaks that rule. Because I'm a rebel, man. Can't stop me. That thing is water dragons. Now, I'm using dragon as an umbrella term here to indicate any mythological creature which could be construed as a dinosaur. This is important because we think stories of dragons came from ancient peoples finding the fossils of dinosaurs and then therefore trying to explain them. The stories we hear of them are wildly different. And there are generally two kinds of dragons, Eastern dragons and Western dragons. Eastern dragons are a little bit more benevolent. They're usually protecting something, whereas Western dragons are a little bit more scary. They're usually like eating people and hoarding things. It's not pretty. But there is a type of dragon that sort of breaks all of these rules, and I love it so very much. Here's a picture of it from when I was a kid. This was my absolute favorite. I want it to be your favorite too, so I'm going to tell you about it. So this is a water dragon. We're going to pretend that that painting wasn't done by a Mormon. Don't judge me. There are, of course, lots of different types of creatures that fit into this category, from water horses, also known as Kelpies, like Nessie from Loch Ness, or more traditional medieval depictions of the same sort of idea. Now, these dragons are unique because of the stories that are told about them. Yes, we do hear the same traditional things. They eat people. They drag people to watery graves. They sometimes do have a treasure. Sometimes they sing to people to lure them in. Every now and then they help somebody who helped them out so that they don't, like, I don't know, drown. The interesting thing about Kelpies is not what they do, it's why they do it. Traditionally, these stories are told about Kelpies kidnapping women or people to take care of a certain purpose, like they need a woman to nurse their baby. That's a popular story from France. Or they need a man to help them build a home for their family. And that's a story I've heard out of Scotland. It's very, very unique. They're not just pulling people off of the shore because they're hungry. They're doing it to help out their family, which is not a story we traditionally hear about dragons, right? Dragons are single-minded, let's face it, but the Kelpie is fucking complex. It has a family and it is going to protect that family, and that's something we can get behind. Yeah, it's scary. I get it. You don't want to be kidnapped from a market in France so that you can be a wet nurse to a dragon. I'm not saying that these dragons are good creatures. Don't test the dragon. It's probably doing what it thinks is right. But there is a sense of benevolence there and a sense of honor that we don't necessarily see in these other dragon stories. All right, so we talked about how lore is important because it conveys a theme which is universal and can apply to almost everybody's life. And generally, the theme behind the stories of dragons is really just being conquered by something that is greater than you and usually in pursuit of something valuable. We all know the tax man cometh, right? But Kelpies break this because they're not just trying to hoard a treasure, they're trying to provide for their families. And I think that this is really important because it harkens back to that idea of you don't really know what someone's going through unless you're in their shoes. I mean, ultimately, what the dragon is doing when it kidnaps a human, to the dragon is not a bad thing. It is trying to provide for its family. Yeah, it sucks for the human. It's bad. We hear a lot of stories about people doing the wrong thing, right? And why that's bad and how to deal with it. But we don't really hear stories about people doing the wrong thing for the right reason. And I think that that's an important mythos that we need to think about in our daily lives. Yes, it's really easy to judge another person. Oh, they're doing a bad thing. Oh, they're hurting the neighborhood. And it's harder still to see it from their perspective. Are they trying to provide for their family? Are they actually trying to protect their family? Which is why this is such an amazing diversion from the traditional dragon. Because if we think that the dragon is an overpowering source, something greater than you that is trying to amass wealth, that's an allegory for the taxman, right? But this, the water dragon, is not trying to do that. It is trying to protect its family. So yes, it is therefore doing something which is against social mores. In a modern way, we would say something that's maybe anti-government, but it's doing it in the end to protect the ones that it loves. This is, by definition, the person who evades their taxes because they are unfair. I'm not trying to get political here. I'm just saying I kind of respect the Kelpie. It is the Robin Hood of fucking dragons, and that's kind of magical. It didn't wake up in the morning and say, I choose violence. It woke up and said, I choose to protect the ones I love. Did it do that through violent means? Well, yeah, unfortunately it did. Look, not all of us were meant to be saints. Some of us were meant to be something greater. Ask Achilles. He'll tell you.